Okay, so for this video, I am flipping through an old sketchbook. Now this one is from 2019. I started it in 2019 and finished it in mid-2020. So a lot of these are old. Well, I would consider these old. I do have a few sketchbooks that I made before this one in 2017, 2018, and so this is 2019. A lot of these are abstract, kind of floral looking, rosary abstract drawings, combined with some characters and little designs. A lot of my older drawings are in black and white, but this sketchbook in particular is color. I used a lot of watercolor, which I haven't used for a couple years. I don't have any watercolors right now, actually. I just have markers. And so a lot of these are kind of unique. Now this style, I love this style, but I don't really plan on showing it too much on this channel. I plan on making futuristic, utopian, dystopian, cyberpunk, futuristic artwork because I've moved on from this style. I still draw like this every single day because it's good for practice. It's good for making confident lines, swirly, it's good for being confident with holding a pen and drawing on paper. That's basically why I like drawing in this way, but I've moved on from that. And so I might from time to time try drawing like this, but it's chaotic, it's all over the place, but I like it. I would say most of these drawings here in this sketchbook took about anywhere from 2 to 8 hours to make. I think on average it usually takes me about 3 or 4 hours. It depends on the sketchbook size though. This is a kind of medium-sized sketchbook, so it took about 2 or 3 hours to make a drawing like this back in 2019, but now I can make these drawings, I can make about 2 or 3 of these in an hour. So I've really improved on speed. I can really pump these drawings out fast. But it wasn't always like that. 2019, which was a couple years ago, I could only make 1 or 2 of these drawings every single day. Now I can make 20, 25. If I really focus and spend the time all day doing that, I could make 30, 40 of these. And looking back at this style, some of these drawings I do actually really find inspiration from, and I'm going to take little pieces from the sketchbook and add them into future drawings because I really do find some of the ideas, the creativity was a lot better a few years ago. I'm still creative, but I feel like these first few sketchbooks were the most creative, and I need to get back into really reinventing, combining ideas together. That's what I did a lot. I combined various subjects, put them together, maybe 3 or 4 things, and then try to make something out of it. It comes out random, it comes out weird sometimes, but that's kind of the point. The point I kind of want to get across is I want to make drawings that make you wonder, curious, like a child. You know, when you're a child, you look at the world and you're curious about everything. This sketchbook is kind of what that is. It's kind of, you look at these drawings and you're like, what is this? What's the point? And that is the point. The point of this sketchbook is to go, what is the point of this sketchbook? And that's why I like these sketchbooks. I like these older ones. So some of these are, I didn't really draw too many robots or futuristic stuff in this sketchbook. A lot of it is, I actually drew a lot of animals and some kind of aliens, kind of things that are alive. I don't really draw that. I've been into drawing AI robots, artificial stuff. So I want to draw more cats. I think a Catstronaut comic would be interesting. You know, cats exploring the galaxy in astronaut suits, something like that. But right now I'm focused on character design, and there's a lot of things that I want to do. So I'll take parts of this sketchbook, write them down, write the ideas that I like, and then move on to the next sketchbook. I have a rotation of about 4 sketchbooks right now that I'm going in and out, back and forth, in between all of these 4 or 5 sketchbooks that I have. It's a lot going on, but I like having a lot of sketchbooks that I'm drawing in at the same time. Of course, having 1 or 2 is a little bit easier because you can focus and not get so distracted by the mess. Well, it's a mess that I've created, but I like the mess. I like a little bit of chaotic disorder. So these drawings I used Pigma microns, some fine liners, I think 005, 01. My favorite is the 005, the finest nib I can get. I also do use a lot of technical pens, Rotring isographs, Staedtler Marsmatics, Koh-i-Noors. I haven't tried out Faber-Castells, but there's a few different technical pens where you can refill them with ink. I like those a lot. But right now I do use a lot of Pigma microns and some Staedtler fine liners. I haven't used those in a while. There's a lot of different pens to choose from. I've tried a lot. I've tried pretty much all of them. And so I've moved on into fountain pens. I use a few different fountain pens because they're satisfying, they're smooth on the page. There's a lot of different variety when it comes to fountain pens, and so that's why I like those. But fine liners are a good base to start from, and that's why pretty much everyone uses them. I mean, if you're an artist and you draw, I mean, who doesn't use Pigma microns? So this is also a Moleskine sketchbook, which I pretty much all I use is Moleskine sketchbooks. But I have, from time to time, I'll venture, and if I see a sketchbook that looks like a Moleskine, I'll get it. Because a Moleskine sketchbook, in my opinion, is just pure high quality. The paper, the outside, it's durable. It looks durable, it feels durable, it just feels good. And so that's why I use it. So I think what I'll do is release one of these sketchbook flip-throughs maybe once a week, or because I have a stack. I have a few dozen of these sketchbooks that are full, and so I'll do one of these a week until they're all shown, and then I'll of course continue to do that with the sketchbooks that I'm drawing in now. And so that should be interesting, that should be fun. Maybe there's a few drawings that you can get inspired by or you like. Now, my intention with a lot of these drawings back then was to make these towers and buildings kind of seem otherworldly, gigantic, hundreds of thousands of feet in the air, hovering, hanging over the person standing underneath them. And that's what some of these drawings, I hope they conveyed. But I didn't really draw any people. I should have drawn like little microscopic people at the bottom staring up at these colossal, gigantic mechanisms or whatever. So I want to do more of that. I want to make buildings. I want to make gigantic skyscraper space stations. That's a good combination. I don't know. There's various ideas. There's lots of things that I could do. So that's what I'm going to start with. Gigantic dome skyscraper cities. Now, something I just thought about is maybe I could go back into these pages and add more color to the black and white drawings, but I don't want to mess up what was there. I don't want to go and redo the black and white drawings because I've seen them a lot and I don't want to change them, but also I'm kind of curious what they would look like if I used some markers or watercolors. But I guess I'll just leave them alone and maybe try to recreate the drawings inside of a new sketchbook. So as of right now, today, what I'm working on is vehicles, cars, and sort of tanks. I'm trying to draw axles and wheels and getting them in the right place, the right perspective. It's kind of it's difficult, but I like mechanical features, things that move and connect together. Yeah. So that's what I'm working on, tanks. And so that's all I had to say for this sketchbook. I have a couple more coming here this month. So that's all I had to say. Thanks for watching. Have a good night. So here I want to flip through my sketchbook. Now this is a 2022 Moleskine sketchbook that I've filled. Now the style for this sketchbook is it's abstract. A lot of these pages are unfinished, messy, and it's not the best sketchbook that I have, but that's not the point. The point is to show the work of what I've done in the past. And so here it is. Now, I think I plan on doing a weekly sketchbook flip through, and this is the second one that I have here. Now, I have a lot of sketchbooks, and so it's probably going to take a couple months or maybe the rest of this year to go through all of the sketchbooks. But slowly but surely, I'll flip through all of them, see what's going on, what I've made in the past. And this one here, if I had to give a ranking out of how good the sketchbook is, I would probably, I'm going to give it a light 6. It's slightly above average of what actually, no, I'm going to give it a 5. I'm going to give it a solid 5. It's a mid sketchbook. It's not amazing. It's not terrible. I have probably 3 or 4 or 5 sketchbooks that are worse than this. So it's a mid-tier sketchbook here. Now, what I will say about this sketchbook that I like is that it shows traces of the style that I'm drawing in now, which is futuristic, cyberpunk, and it has some robots, some kind of vehicles, a couple kind of laser guns. I need to get into that. I forgot about drawing guns and laser weapons. That's really fun. They're easy to draw, and it's good practice to draw laser guns, okay? Trust me. So that's what I like about this sketchbook. There's little hints here and there of what's going to occur in the future. And so I'll have to look at that in the past sketchbooks that I have. I'll have to really analyze what's going on in these sketchbooks and how is it transforming into the next sketchbook. How are these past sketchbooks molding the next? It's basically like an evolution of style. And what I have noticed with my style is that the less that I try to make my style like someone else's, the less I try to draw in a specific way, the more I draw in a unique way. The less I look outwardly to other people to get inspiration from, and that's great. I think finding an artist that you love, finding your favorite artist and trying to draw like them is good, but once you've done that, then you can go and venture into your style, because I think that's a very important thing, is to find your style, and it'll happen naturally. And I feel like I've finally reached that point where I'm in my style of drawing this stuff, drawing sharp, jagged, geometrical, cube shape stuff. It's simple, Some of it's complicated, but I like doing it. What I also notice about these older sketchbooks is that some of them have more color than I expected. I actually was drawing with a lot of red ink, some blue ink, especially in this one. And a lot of the newer sketchbooks, I use marker and some colored pencil, but I don't really have any blue ink, or I have some red. I have a couple of different new colors that I could be using. So upcoming in the next few videos, more colors, more experimental artwork. I drew quite a few faces in the sketchbook, some different angles, and they're not as good as what I'm doing now, obviously. I feel like this sketchbook is when I learned perspective a little bit more and got comfortable with drawing at different angles, because some of these are like side profile, and it's nice to look back on. It's nice to look back on these drawings, see how far I've come, and what I'm doing now. What I'm doing now isn't crazy, isn't hyper realistic faces. The thing is, I could do that. I could spend 5-6 hours or 20 hours on one face trying to make it hyper realistic, but I don't really want to draw like that. I want to draw not in a cartoonish comic way, kind of a comic way, but an in-between, a happy medium between realism and cartoons. It's difficult to get that right, but I want to make it look like it's an illustration, almost a combination of horror manga, Junji Ito / Kim Jong-gi, something sort of like that, something approximating that, I would say. I want to go in that direction of dystopian horror. I don't know. Actually, what I forgot to mention is that this is a sketchbook here. This is a Moleskine sketchbook, and often what I use right now is Moleskine notebooks, which are still blank pages, but they're thinner, and there's more pages in the sketchbook. I think there's maybe over 300, and in the notebook, and in the sketchbook right here, there's maybe 200. So there's less, but the paper is thicker in these sketchbooks. So I do like that. I might have to get a Moleskine sketchbook. I might have to get one of these again, because I like flipping through the thick paper, and so I can just glob on the ink, glob on the extra marker, and it won't bleed through to the other side. But also the notebook, the Moleskine notebook, has more pages. So what I need to do is get all of my sketchbooks and see how many pages altogether have I filled, because each of these sketchbooks has a couple hundred pages. I think maybe 200 to 300. I'm not sure on the exact number, but a couple hundred pages. And so I have over a dozen sketchbooks, maybe 15 or 20, actually more like 20, 25 sketchbooks. And so that's definitely over 1,000 drawings. That's over 10,000 drawings, probably maybe even 20, 30,000 drawings altogether. But they're not huge pages, but they're like medium size. So it's not that amazing. It's not that impressive. I mean, it's not that amazing anyway. I mean, it's just these drawings aren't really super professional or good anyway, but I'm in the intermediate stage of art, I would say. I'm not a beginner. I know what's going on, okay? I know what's going on, but I'm also nowhere near being a veteran or professionally experienced. But that's fine, because I think most people are kind of in the intermediate stage, because it's difficult to get out of that stage and go into expert mode of being a professional. But I'm not worried about that. I'm worried about having fun, innovating, and creating unique stuff that gets people's mind going, gets the brain flowing, gets the cogs and the wheels turning inside your head. That's my goal. That's the goal for me. I want to do that for myself, but I also want to do it for the people who are watching this right now, for you, to get your mind kind of in a creative mind frame. And hello, in this video I'll be flipping through my sketchbook. Now this one here, I called it the Cyberpunk Project Z sketchbook. Well, actually I have a couple sketchbooks that I call Project Z. It's really all the same project. So yeah, I finished this last year. Most of these drawings are robots, spaceships, a couple vehicles, some faces, and they're mainly black and white drawings. I didn't use any color really. Well, I used a little bit, maybe a little bit green or yellow, hints of blue here and there. But for the most part, it's black and white, and I wanted to practice in the sketchbook, really get confident with drawing lines. So you'll notice that most of these pages are, they're not finished, but that's fine. Not every sketchbook has to be amazing, has to be perfect. And this one clearly isn't. Okay, the sketchbook that I'm working on right now is similar to this one, but I would say it's like an improvement. It's like a 2.0 version of this cyberpunk sketchbook. And the reason I call it a cyberpunk sketchbook is because I like, first of all, I like the name, and also that's kind of what I am. I'm a cyberpunk artist. I'm a digital artist. Well, not a digital artist, but I'm like a YouTube artist. So it makes sense for me to call myself a cyberpunk. 200 or 300 years ago, I wouldn't call myself that, but I'm sort of like a digital art Renaissance man. That's what I like to imagine myself as. If Leonardo da Vinci was alive in this century, he would probably be called a digital Renaissance man or something like that. Because I think in a couple hundred years, people will look back on this time and think, what an interesting time to be alive. You have technology, artificial intelligence. We're living in the digital age with seemingly endless possibilities, but there's a lot you can do. There's information. There's so much information. It's insane. And I really wonder, in 300 years, we'll look back and be like, that was a good time. A good time to be alive, but still, I'd like to live maybe in 2400, because there's not that much space exploration in this century. Or at least if you're an average person, if you're normal citizen, you don't really have the power to go into space. And maybe we'll have shuttles. We can take vacations onto other planets. We'll be on Mars. Maybe make it to some other galaxies. That's if we don't blow up the Earth by then. Anyways, so I like these drawings. They're okay. Definitely slightly above average. On the scale of 1 to 10, I'm going to give it a light 7. A light 7. It's fairly good, fairly above average. But most of these drawings are unfinished, so I guess I'm gonna have to go with a 6.5. That's a good rating. I have about, I think I have 18, 19 more sketchbooks to go through within this year. So it's 1 or 2 sketchbooks I'll be showing every week. So it should take quite a while to get through all of them. I used a lot of cross-hatching with these drawings. I've noticed in my recent drawings I kind of haven't been cross-hatching using shading techniques as much. They're all kind of blank and I leave spaces open, which is a good thing because then I can go back in and make make it look better with color, because I think I really need to try using color in all of my drawings, because the black and white is great, but I think people watching, you might want to see more color. Or you can tell me down below of what you want to see. Do you want me to use just black and white ink or color? Because I like black and white, but I think color is, maybe some greens, some blues, and all of that. That'd be nice. So you might have noticed this sketchbook is a little bit smaller than the other sketchbook. If you've watched the other sketchbook flip-throughs, this is, I think it's a 5 by, or maybe it's a 4 by 7, 4 by 5, no, 5 by 7. It's like an inch or two smaller than the other Moleskine sketchbooks that I use. And I didn't notice that when I got it. I thought it was going to be a little bit bigger. I got the smaller version of the sketchbook, which is that's fine, because I can fill it quicker and I can make drawings faster and not take all day to finish a drawing. So I guess it doesn't really matter. But it's not like a pocket-sized sketchbook. It's like the size of my hand. And I also have one or two other Moleskine sketchbooks that are huge. They're like 12 by maybe 16 or something. And it's like the size of a laptop. It's a very big sketchbook. But I've only filled like 3 pages in it. And it's been at the bottom of my desk for the past 2 years because it's so big. The papers are too much. But I'll get it done one day. I'll admit, a lot of these drawings are wonky, all over the place. But that's because this was more of a travel sketchbook. When I'm going somewhere, I'll draw, and I don't really care. I don't care what I put in it. Just throw some lines, throw some stuff inside of it. Hopefully, it turns into something. But I like these sketchbooks. I like the messy stuff. Most people, they want to make a perfect sketchbook. I don't care anymore. I used to care. I used to be like, okay, this is going to be the best sketchbook that I've ever made. It's going to be perfect. Every single drawing is going to look how I want it to. But now, I don't care. I just draw. That's all I do. I draw and I do it more. And if it happens, then it happens. If I do something good, then it's good. And if it turns out bad, it turns out bad. I'm a real artist. I try, I'm a real person. I'm a real, I'm a real artist. It's going to be good. These sketchbooks are going to be nice. I like the roughness, the gritty lines, the dots, the blotches of ink that spill on the page. I'm into that. I'm into the real stuff. I'm into the none of that fake corporate perfect looking logos and everything. I mean, sometimes, but I want to be raw. I want to be a real artist. So what I think I'll do now is go back and maybe add some colors to these drawings. Probably post a short or two with some me coloring in this sketchbook. You see, what I fear most is not failing. What I fear is not beginning to try. Okay? And you should too. You should fear not trying. Or maybe not. Maybe you should just sit back, relax, and kind of enjoy yourself. But I mean, drawing is enjoying for me, so it is like sitting back and relaxing while I'm drawing. So yeah. Oh, so there is a drawing with blue ink. The one and only drawing in the sketchbook that I think has blue ink. Where's my blue ink pen at? I can't find it. I had a Pigma Micron, a 01. It's blue. I don't know where it is. I need to get another one to make blue drawings. I think I do have a technical pen though. What's it called? A Kohinoor with some blue technical pen ink, and so I'll just use that maybe. But yeah, that's all I had to say. That's the flip through. That's the art, I guess you could call it. If it's art, it's mostly just sketches. But yeah, that's all I had to say. Goodbye. Oh, you're still here? Well, I guess you can get in on the top secret classified information of the cyberpunk zine that I'm working on, or comic, or something like that. Coming 2026, or 27, or 25, I don't know. So today is a very special day, I guess. Not really. I'm just flipping through my sketchbook. I mean, I've seen all of these drawings before, but obviously, if you're watching this video, you haven't seen any of these drawings, so they're probably new to you. Anyways, I started this sketchbook in 2020. It took about 6 or 7 months to finish, and that's because I had about 2 or 3 other sketchbooks that I was working on at the same time, so it took a long time. And you know, I finished this in 2020. It feels like 2020 was yesterday. It feels like last year was 2020, but it's 2024. And before we know it, it's almost 2025. It's actually insane how fast the time has flown by. And I feel like drawing is good time well spent for me, in my opinion, because I get to look back at what I have done throughout the year. And whether it be, I've always, look, when I was younger, I wanted to do something that lasts a little bit, because I feel like life is very interesting in that not everything lasts that long. You know, food doesn't last. Cars, they break down. Everything breaks down, gets old. And I feel like these sketchbooks can last for 50, 60 years. You know, when I'm old, I'll be able to look back at all these, and if I have kids, I can show them, pass them on down, or whatever. And so it's good to have an archive of things, I think. And that's why I like drawing. But I also like drawing just because it's genuinely one of the most fun things for me. Putting ink down, experimenting. And so I used a lot of watercolor in these sketchbooks. A lot of color. Now, the newer sketchbooks I use, I don't draw with color, but I'm getting back into it. The last couple months I've been using markers, watercolors, and I do have some pastels, which I haven't even used. They're like old vintage pastels that I got from Goodwill or something a couple years ago. Should probably use those. And I like the ideas in the sketchbook. This is one of those sketchbooks that I have that I look back and I actually get inspiration from, because the ideas, the combination of things, the stuff that I was doing, it was just different. And so I need to get back into it. I need to really get creative like this and stop worrying about making perfect things, because I remember when I was in this stage of drawing, I just drew. That's all I did. I sat in my room for, 10, 12 hours, just drawing, just putting ink down, just going into another world inside of my sketchbook. And now it feels a little different now. Now I draw, but it doesn't feel as much as another world. Sometimes it does. And that's the kind of feeling that I try to get back into. I have been. In the past few drawings, I've kind of been getting into that feeling of being in another world while I'm drawing. And yeah. Anyways, so I do see a pattern in these drawings where there's a lot of like flower petals and some organic looking abstract stuff. A couple aliens. Very interesting. I think it is. I think it's interesting to look back at these. They're not all good. There's definitely a handful of them that are terrible. But also, it doesn't really matter that much because I just like the ideas, the concepts that are in here. You know, cats drinking coffee, flying all over the place in space, and just... It's like a liminal sort of... What's that video game called? I don't know how to explain it. What's this? There's a video game from like 2010. I don't know. But what I'm going for, I think the sketchbook, what I went for was like a Twilight Zone kind of feel. Like an ethereal... time has stopped, the universe is frozen, that kind of feeling. These are the emotions that I wanted to get into these drawings, is that everything is slowed down, nothing makes sense, and I think I did pretty good with some of these. A lot of flowers on on different creatures and stuff. I think I need to do that more, just add flowers to everything. Because you kind of can, if you know, draw animals and put a ring of a flower around them, a sunflower. I don't know. Also, I think the reason these drawings are so unique and kind of different, I guess you could say, is because I was venturing into a lot of brand new music, finding artists, and I haven't really been listening to music as much as I used to. I still do, but I'm not exploring into different music. I mean, I've listened to thousands of artists, probably probably like 100,000 different albums and songs. And so I kind of quit because I feel like I've listened to every category of music and everything, but there's always new music coming out. There's always good music. I feel like there's always new good music, okay? You don't be like old people that say that they don't make good music anymore. There is good music. You just have to find it, you know. Maybe not on the radio. There's probably not good new music on the radio, but go on the internet and find new music. So, yeah, I need to find new music because there's something interesting about drawing while listening to music. Listening to music and drawing at the same time is just a different experience. It's when I get into the flow state and things just seem to happen effortlessly. And so, but also listening to nothing is good. I mean, just drawing, I don't know. There's a lot of different ways to make art. And I think music really, I think I need to get back into that. So this is a Moleskine sketchbook. And I think there's a couple hundred pages, maybe 200-300 pages in it. This is a notebook. Sometimes I use the Moleskine sketchbook, but the notebook has more pages. And I also used a lot of Pigma Microns, I think. I think that's the only pen that I used in the sketchbook, actually. Now I have a lot more pens. I use a lot of different materials. Dip pens, fountain pens, brush pens, and fine liners, technical pens. And so there's a lot of variety now. These drawings all kind of look the same. I mean, they don't. They all have the similar style to them. I noticed with a lot of these drawings that the background is usually filled with black or maybe some stripes in the background. I don't really make backgrounds as much as I used to. So I need to do that. I need to make landscapes, buildings, clouds in the background, and add more. There's more to be done with the page than just focusing on one thing, drawing it, maybe add some other stuff, but I do fear messing it up. That's the main reason I don't do it now, because I make a good drawing and then I don't want to make a background because maybe I'll mess it up, and so I don't. And maybe I should just not care and put the clouds in the background, put the landscapes. But it's scary. I don't want to mess it up. I guess I could just sketch and use pencil. That's really the smart idea to do. Usually I use like a rotating, ticky mechanical pencil, and I think that's the only mechanical pencil I have, actually. I did have some Bic ones and some Pentel mechanical pencils, but I'm not really into pencil. I'm into ink. As you can tell probably from all of these drawings, they're ink. You know, it's amazing how many sketchbooks I can fill now. You know, a few years ago, all I could do was maybe 3 or 4 sketchbooks a year, and now I'm filling 2 or 3 a month. It's kind of insane. And I started drawing seriously in 2017. Really seriously in 2017. I drew a lot before that. I've drawn since I was 4, 5, 6 years old, but I didn't start drawing every single day until a couple years ago. So when I started drawing seriously in 2017, I was drawing very slow. A lot of the drawings were in a pocket-sized sketchbook, and it was in middle school. I started drawing in class, which I probably shouldn't have done. I drew in every single class. Didn't really pay too much attention. I mean, I tried, but also I would rather be drawing, and so I figured it might be the best use of my time to spend all my time drawing if I want to be an artist, right? I mean, sure. I mean, I could learn math and science and all this stuff, but why do it now? I'll do it later, right? Look, I'm not procrastinating. I wasn't procrastinating. I was just looking for the most logical way to become an artist, right? I mean, it's probably not the best way to become an artist. It's kind of risky to be sort of an entrepreneurial type artist instead of going to art school or college or whatever. But I just wanted to draw. I just wanted to do my own thing. Of course, right now in the position that I am, there's nothing stopping me from going back to school or going to art classes or whatever. But I feel like I don't really need to. Or, I mean, I would like to, but at the same time, I'm kind of comfortable with just drawing. I've never really been a fan of following specific rules or ways of doing things. I've always strayed from the path of normality, of conformity, which most artists kind of already do that. That's why artists do what they do, because they want to be different. They want to mess with how things are done, how things have been done for the past centuries. And even when I try to be normal, try to be like other people, it doesn't really turn out that way. But I mean, most people aren't normal. I mean, everyone is unique to some degree, but also we're all similar. It's very interesting because I feel like I'm very normal, but at the same time I'm slightly unique. I'm like micro unique in a specific niche of this kind of artwork. I think at the end of the day, we're all pretty much the same, all human beings. even the billionaires, the Elon Musks, the Jeff Bezos, we're all very similar. It's the people that spend a lot of time on one specific thing, the kind of people that just forget about everything and just do their own thing. I feel like that's what kind of changes you into it kind of makes you go onto a different pathway. That's kind of what's happened to me. I've kind of, I started out being normal, but from being alone and drawing so much, drawing for like 15 hours a day, it kind of changes your brain into just seeing things differently. Or maybe not. I don't know. But I think this is kind of like a superpower, but it's accessible to everyone, basically. If you're watching this video, it's accessible to you. You just have to really spend a lot of time doing something, learning, and then applying that knowledge to what you want to do. But also, I've met a lot of people, and I'm drawing. Sometimes I draw in different places. I've drawn here and there, and people will come up to me, walk behind me, and look at what I'm doing and say, "How do you do that? How do you focus so much? How do you spend so much time doing this? I could never do that." And it's really a matter of sacrificing short-term pleasure for long-term gain, because making a drawing, it takes 3-4 hours. You could be playing a video game for 4 hours, which I have. I've spent okay, look, I've spent thousands of hours playing video games. Now, I'll play maybe 1 or 2 hours a day, but if you just take maybe 3 or 4 hours instead of playing video games and putting it into something else, you can become extremely good at it. But that's if you want to. You really don't have to. And I don't think everyone should, because it's too much sometimes. I feel like, for me, I'm used to it. I'm used to just putting all my time into absurd, kind of meaningless things. But to me, this is meaningful. Some would maybe argue that it's meaningless, but I mean, I like it. So, but yeah, if you put a lot of time into something, it's only a matter of time before you get good at something. I've sort of taken that gamer mentality and applied it to my artwork, in that no matter what it takes, no matter how long it takes to get good at drawing, no matter how long it takes to get to where I want to go, I ain't quitting. I ain't going to stop. It doesn't matter, okay? You got to have that kind of, do or die. I am going to make drawings until I die. No matter what. A little crazy, it might sound a little extreme, but it works. I mean, it kind of works for me. I've made some pretty good drawings from that kind of mentality. I don't care how long I have to sit in this chair, I'm going to make a good drawing. Now, now when I'm making a drawing, I'll just close the sketchbook and wait a couple days and then go back to it. But I was pretty crazy, when I was like 13, 14, 15, 16 making drawings, I was just, relentless. I mean, I still am, but I was just pumping out drawings 3, 5, 7 a day, non-stop. But yeah, that's about all I had to say. I just wanted to explain how I got to this point, and over the years of working very diligently and hard inside of these sketchbooks, I have about 20 more of them that I'll be flipping through every single week. And this is the third one, I think. The third one that I flipped through. This isn't the oldest one. I have older ones. I should have gone through these alphabetically, but I'm just going through them as I see fit. So that's all I had to say. Thanks for watching. If you like the drawings, tell me. And goodbye. Hey, it's Grayson. So I'm going to be flipping through some sketchbooks. I have a bunch of sketchbooks here that I'll be flipping through in the future. This coming year, a lot. Well, not that much, but a good amount. This sketchbook here took about 2 months, and that's because I was also working on a bright green sketchbook at the same time as I was drawing in this one. And so it usually takes me about 1 month to finish a sketchbook, sometimes sooner. So I kind of split my attention into 2 different sketchbooks. And so, yeah. Now this sketchbook, I think it's moving towards cyberpunk, futuristic, dystopian almost, that kind of style. But it's not exactly what I imagined. And so the next sketchbook is definitely going to be more detailed. It's going to be more planned, thought out. This sketchbook was really the first Project Z sort of cyberpunk, futuristic sketchbook. Although a lot of these drawings are very similar. There's robots, kind of tanks, Tesla vehicles, with my own spin on it. So they're similar, but the next sketchbook I plan on really focusing on different things: architecture, buildings, UFO, aliens. I'm going to go more into space, that direction, drawing a bunch of extraterrestrial beings, hybrids, if you will. And there's also a lot of abstract doodling in the sketchbook, which I'll throw in every once in a while. I don't want to just do that. That's the style that I used to draw in a lot. Abstract, organic, plant-looking doodles. Almost tattoos. I guess they're sort of tattoos. I could kind of add on to them and put in some animals and different designs like that. But I want to make this sketchbook, my goal in mind was to make it sort of like a manuscript, some sort of codex, sort of like something you would find in a cave, or if you're digging underground, you so happen to stumble upon this ancient artifact. And so that's what this sketchbook is. Maybe what I should do is dig a hole, bury it, and 200 years from now, see if someone digs it up. I don't know how I would do that because I'm going to be dead in 200 years, but that would be fun. I mean, imagine that. Imagine you're in your backyard, or you're like planting a tree, and you dig up some sort of sketchbook in a box or a crate, a treasure chest. That would be exciting if I found that. It would probably be worth quite a lot of money, right? You find something in your backyard. But I'll think about that later. A lot of these drawings are very angular. Try making them symmetric, and there's not too many curves going on, which is fine because these are robots. This is futuristic stuff that I want to get in here. There's a lot of cross-hatching going on, and there are some words. I like writing random phrases or quotes or just nonsense in this sketchbook. That's what it's for. It's for getting all the nonsense out of my brain onto the page. And sometimes it's funny, sometimes it's absurd, and there's no place for it. But there is in here, so that's why I did it. A few markers, a little bit of color in here, some highlights of of the robots and spaceships, a little bit of color, but not as much as I could have used. Maybe the next sketchbook will be all color, all neon, pastel. It would look nice, maybe. Some people like the color, some people don't. But it doesn't matter. I can do whatever I want in my sketchbook, okay? That's why I like it. Although I do take in opinions. I do take in You know, if someone says something, hey, maybe you should do this, maybe I'll do it. Maybe I'll try it. Okay. Drew some faces at different angles and perspectives. This is a Moleskine sketchbook, by the way. Actually, no, this is a Moleskine notebook. The notebook has a fair amount more pages in it, so I use that. And it's also a little bit thinner than sketchbook paper. Sketchbook paper is, it's like 3 of these notebook papers squeezed together, so it's kind of a, it's not very bendy. It's pretty much the same kind of, what would you say, grit to the paper. It's very smooth. The Pigma Micron Rotring Isographs technical pens really flow well on this paper. So that's why I like these sketchbooks. They're a little expensive. I'll admit they're a little bit pricey, but they're worth it in my opinion. They're probably the most high quality sketchbook that there is. Moleskine. I call it Moleskine. Or maybe it's pronounced Moleskine. Probably not. There are some other sketchbooks that I got about a month ago. What are they called? They're like an Italian leathery sort of sketchbook. Yeah, I don't know what they're called. I forgot. I don't use them. I mean, I've used one, but I used the Moleskine. That's all I know. That's all I've used for the past 5, 6, 7 years is this. But before that, actually, I did use a like a Walmart Daler and Rowney sketchbook, a pocket sketchbook that I would bring to school when I was in middle school. I would bring that and just draw endlessly and not pay attention to anything really, but it is what it is. And then I upgraded and moved into the Moleskine, and so that's all I've been using. Maybe I should venture out, try some other sketchbooks. I think I have about 3 or 4 other sketchbooks that are not Moleskine, but I think they're like Walmart. I've gotten a few sketchbooks from Walmart, and they're okay. You know, for emergency purposes, I'll use another sketchbook. But I'm kind of autistic when it comes to sketchbooks, when it comes to pens. I'm very specific in what I want to draw with. And I guess it's a good thing, or maybe not. I don't know. Probably a good thing that I like one thing, one specific type of sketchbook, because I can really get comfortable in it, and I'm not concerned about anything else. So, anyways, what I should have drawn more in here was weaponry, guns, turrets, helicopter blades. I drew a few of these. And what I also like is making very tall mechs, sort of mechs. They're not really mechs. They're like robots, humans inside of them. Technically, they are mechs, but I don't like to call them that. I like to call them like extraterrestrial UFO robots. I like putting things together. I want to make new words. I know it sounds kind of stupid. I want to make completely new things than what's known. That's what this sketchbook is for. I want to draw things that people don't understand. And I know that doesn't really make sense. That's kind of the point of drawing, to make things that make sense to people. But I want to bring curiosity to the mind. I want you to look at this sketchbook and think, what is this dude drawing? Does this dude have a mental illness? Probably. So that's kind of the emotion that I want to get out there to people, you know? Drew some helmets. I like the purple and yellow. That's a good combination. There's a lot of good color combinations. I'm not really into the color theory thing. I don't know. I'm not like no expert or professional. But I have a good eye for what colors to put together. Maybe a green and I can't think of anything right now. But a yellow and a pink doesn't really make sense. But if you do it right, if you put these color combinations together in the right way, you can make some neat looking drawings, I think. And what I like, what I want to draw more of is towers, skyscrapers that are massive, huge. They expand, they go thousands of feet into the sky, and there's little space stations on top that lead to floating islands. I get a little bit of inspiration from video games like Terraria or some RPG games, and I kind of add that in within my art. So I really want for the next sketchbook to be good. I will admit a lot of these drawings are the same, but I do have a problem with that, drawing the same robots over and over and over again. But that's why I'm so confident with drawing straight lines and making machinery and that stuff, because I do it a little too much. And I don't try other things out. I mean, I'll draw a face here and there, but most artists draw things. I don't draw things. I draw parts, machines, and it's good practice. But I also think that I need to do other things. So what I like about these abstract doodles here, if you can, as you can see here, there's a few pages that are tattoo looking. I want to draw more of these, but with color, because I think that would really be something different than what other people are doing. I think because they kind of look like organs and intestines. They look like inside body parts. And maybe I should draw skeletons. I'll draw some anatomy, turn it into a diagram, and maybe cut some drawings out, put them up on my wall, and then that'll be that, and that should be good over there. So, anyways, yeah, I like the organic body, inner body parts sprawled out on the page, kind of levitating, floating in the air, in space. And I'll use some pink, and I really like the pinks and bright reds and the light orange colors. That would look nice. I could blend them all together on these organs. So I'll work on that next for the future sketchbook. The people in the sketchbook, I've tried making them into sort of aliens, but what I wanted to do was create some fashion. I think that this kind of futuristic fashion is interesting. Some of these futuristic, I guess you could call them, characters, what I wanted to do was make them have cloaks, invisible cloaks, and very long, almost dresses, sort of like ancient Roman clothes or gladiator helmets. I've kind of taken ideas from older things and then put them together into these little doodles here. And the machinery here, A lot of it's just random parts and stuff that I put together. It's another way for me to doodle. It's the phase 2 that I call it. I call it phase 2 Project Z, because what I've done is moved on from abstract doodling, making a bunch of shapes, putting them together, and it's a great way to practice. But phase 1's over. It's time for phase 2. It's time for, so I made some rovers. This part of the sketchbook, I'm about halfway through here, and there's some buses, some space vehicles. The wheels are what would I call them? They're kind of boxy. They're a little bit, they're like donuts. That's what they are. I don't know what they're made out of, but they're not tires, okay? I really do like the diagrams. I need to focus more on that, adding little absurd words and quotes to these drawings. I drew some fish. Here and there, I'll throw in something that I've never really drawn before. And fish, I haven't really done that too much. I haven't really drawn animals. I haven't done that. And so it's almost like a surprise, you know, because so many of the drawings are the same that when I make something different, it's like it kind of throws you off. I also like doing that. Here's some helicopters, sort of like 1900, the first helicopters that you would see. That's what these are. And what I also wanted to do was make this. I like Leonardo da Vinci. I like his sketches, his artwork, all of that. And so I wanted to make this sketchbook similar to that, kind of like the Vitruvian Man or whatever. I want to draw stuff like that. I want to make art that looks old but also futuristic, if that makes sense. Because I feel like if I can draw like Leonardo da Vinci, if I can draw in an old Renaissance style, it would really like make my work look more professional instead of scribbles and doodles on the page. So that's the goal for the rest of this year. I want to be Leonardo da Vinci, okay? The digital Leonardo da Vinci, if that's possible, okay? I drew some aliens. This is the part of the sketchbook where I start getting a little extraterrestrial and making people different colors, like purple and pink. So I drew a lot of the same drawings. I if you can see the brain drawing here, the Neuralink kind of helmet going on, I wanted to make a certain drawing, and then I messed up again, and then before I know it, I have like 7 or 6 pages in a row that look exactly the same, and it doesn't. It just I failed. I failed at the drawing, and that happens a lot. I drew some test tubes, sort of aliens. I think what I should do is draw some more aliens and test tubes. Definitely do that. And some machinery. Here in the Art Monarch studio, we want to make things complex. We want to make things fundamentally insane. We want to make it look like some crazy person has gotten into the sketchbook and put some scribbles of alien text in there. And that's what we do in the Art Monarch studio. That's what I do. Of course, it's only me here. I don't have anyone working for me. I do it all. Anyways, I like the alien drawings, but I feel like it's a niche thing. Not everyone likes this type of art. Some people like real things, and it's, you know, fantasy drawing. It's like with books. Not everyone likes different types of books that they read, if you read. And so there's different styles of art, and, you know, I can't really cater to everyone, and that's not, doesn't really matter too much to me, because I kind of want to make a niche that a select few people like. And, you know, there's definitely a good portion of people who like futuristic cyberpunk art, dystopian stuff. But I can also see why you wouldn't like that, because it's kind of nihilistic and leaning in towards that category of things. But I try making it, I like chaos, I like interesting things in art. And so I like the unknown, I like mystery, sci-fi, things that don't make sense, things that are otherworldly. And so that's what the sketchbook has a little bit of. A little bit. So we're nearing the end of this sketchbook here. This is going to be a long video right here. I'm flipping through a lot. Anyways, so I have about, how many more sketchbooks do I have? I have 16, 17 more to go through. And the style, you'll notice in my older sketchbooks that the style is abstract with more. I actually did draw some animals and stuff. I used to draw a lot of that, but I just like the futuristic stuff. And so when I flip through the older sketchbooks, you'll notice that the style is pretty different. And I was a little bit more creative, but of course I was younger. But I'm still creative. I'm getting more creative by the day as I draw more, I feel. So have a few art supplies that I'll be using this month. Technical pens every day. This month is, fine liners are done for this month. I'm done with fine liners for this month. I'll be using a technical pen. I'll also be using a dip pen here and there, and various markers. I've got some new markers, and I have a few marker brands that I haven't even tried, that I've literally left on my table, that are unpackaged, and I haven't put the ink, the brush, on the page. So I'll have to try that out and get some ideas going. The next sketchbook's going to be very creative. It's going to be like a daydream. That's what I want it to be. I want the ideas to be complex, but not too complex, not too crazy, because then it leads to people not liking it. Because if things don't make sense, if things are a little too weird, people don't like that. People like the normal, most people like normal art. You don't see too many artists that are, I guess, like Salvador Dali, his art's kind of dreamy and absurd, weird. I like Salvador Dali, Picasso or whatever, the famous artists of the 20th century, Basquiat, they're kind of weird. They're not that, so I guess people do like weird art. I go back and forth. I don't know what people like, but I know what I like, and so I guess that's what I should do. Towards the end of the sketchbook here, you'll notice that there are some mini little people on the page, and I want to do more of this, a Where's Waldo style kind of drawing. It's fun. It's a great way to fill up your sketchbook, and there's not too much pressure of drawing when you're drawing things on a very small scale. It's easy. It's not hard, and so I think maybe more people should try this. So if you're watching this, if you like drawing, try drawing things very small in your sketchbook or on some paper. So I'll do that in the next sketchbook, a lot of these. And I also, because I like taking stuff that I've made and then making a 2.0 version of the old stuff. So that's what I'll do. Anyways, so that's about it for this sketchbook. Nearing the end, and I have a brand new sketchbook. I'll start tomorrow. So, what should I draw? If you want me to draw something, then I might do it. I'll probably add it and draw it into the sketchbook. But I don't know how you're going to know that I've drawn it. I'll I don't know. I'll put some sort of playlist of what people ask me to draw or something, maybe. I don't know. Give me some ideas in the comments. Maybe a challenge, a drawing challenge. Draw with two hands. Draw on the wall. Draw on the ground. Draw on maybe a house or something. No, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to draw on any... I'm not drawing on houses. Although, that would be fun. That's my goal now, is to buy a house that I can draw on. That's going to be a little expensive, though. That's an expensive art supply, but maybe 30 years from now. So, the techniques that I used for this sketchbook, a lot of cross-hatching, a lot of stippling, a lot of dots, a lot of lines, and really I love drawing lines. That's what I love doing. Just putting the ink down is the most satisfying thing to me. I don't know what it is. Just the fresh, clean ink rolling across the page. It really does make me happy. And so that's why I fill up these sketchbooks, and that's why I continue to do it. It's going to be good. So, that's about it. Have a good night. Hey, good evening. It's Grayson. And in this video, I'll be flipping through two of my sketchbooks. And here I have a 2023 and also the other one's 2023. Both, and they're the same size moleskin sketchbook. And these are abstract drawings. These are some of the drawings that I used to make in this sort of style, abstract. Inspired by Peter Draws. I don't draw on it as much. Sometimes I will for practice or to make confident lines on the page, but I moved more into a cyberpunk style this year, and that's what I've been doing. And most of these are very loose sketches, some robots, mechs, computer mechanisms, a lot of that stuff going on. These are, I would say these are really not perfect. None of these drawings are amazing, but there's a lot of detail going on. There is a lot of lines, a lot of organ, brain looking things going on in this sketchbook. So, and these two sketchbooks are pretty similar. They look exactly the same, basically. And I try in the newer sketchbooks that I have to go into a different direction in more of a surrealist style. I guess these kind of are abstract, drippy, psychedelic. But I want to combine surrealism with cyberpunk. That's what I've been into. And so that's what I'll do. And I also do take a lot of inspiration from other artists, and some people have commented below some artists that I've never heard of, and I'm looking at them, taking inspiration from that. And so there's a lot going on in this sketchbook. A lot of the same stuff. I will admit, I do have a problem with making the same thing over and over and over again. But it's good practice. And this is why I started drawing a lot more. A few years ago, I just enjoyed putting lines down, enjoyed lathering ink onto the page. And so, yeah, that's why I'm kind of what's the word? ADHD when it comes to drawing. I mean, I can spend 5-6 hours drawing. Although lately I haven't been drawing as much. I've been focused more on making videos rather than just drawing, because it does take a while to edit videos and do all of this as well. So, but when I have the time, I draw for a couple hours. And so yeah, anyways, I used some different color. I used a little bit of red, dip pens, some blue ink, I think, but mostly black ink. I like black ink. It's just a nice, clean look to contrast with the white paper. There are some unfinished pages I see here in the sketchbook, but that's fine. I can go back. I should, or maybe I can cut the pages out and do something with them. I'll cut out the last 10 pages of both of these two sketchbooks and then draw them and then cut the drawing out into the shape of whatever the character is, and then maybe I'll glue them into the sketchbook that I'm using now. I don't know. There's a lot I could do. There's a lot of things I could do with cutout drawings. I could make a little zine or comic with cutout drawings. That's a good idea. I haven't thought about that, actually. And then I'll tape them into a sketchbook. All the good drawings will be in one sketchbook. Genius. That's a genius idea. Instead of drawing in a sketchbook and then messing up, I can just cut out the drawings that I want and then tape them in a completely different sketchbook. And so that'll work out great. That'll work out fantastic. So the sketchbook that I'm working on now is nothing like this, really. It looks completely different. Although it is abstract, there are machines and things happening, a bunch of pipes. And I don't plan on drawing too much in an abstract style. Maybe from time to time I'll do that. A tattoo style. Drew some guns here, some weaponry, lasers. They're terrible, I'll admit. I thought a lot of these drawings are just not great. These are definitely the lower tier drawings that I've made when it comes to my sketchbooks. I have a few dozen sketchbooks, and these are just not, they're not it. But they are smaller sketchbooks. I wasn't trying to make them masterpieces or anything. It's more of just a side project. That's what these sketchbooks were. A side doodle. Free your mind and forget about everything while I'm putting ink down. That's the purpose. The purpose wasn't to impress people. The purpose of the sketchbook was to make me happy, to have fun. Here's a 2-sided page. Here's a 2-page pager here. I need to do more of that. I think this is actually, it's kind of hard to do in the Moleskine notebook that I have because the paper's not, the sketchbook isn't flat. This is a Moleskine sketchbook that I'm flipping through here, and it's very flat. You can do 2-page drawings connected together, but with the notebook, it's a lot more difficult to do 2 pages, so I'll have to... I do have a sketchbook, actually. I have like a flower Sakura, what's it called? What's the flower that cherry blossom Moleskine sketchbook? It's like a limited edition thing. I haven't started drawing in that, but I should. I've got a few Moleskine sketchbooks going on right now. A blue dotted notebook that's a bit skinny. I'm not sure how many pages that has in it, so I haven't really been drawing in that. Made a few drawings and filled some pages, but I'm mostly focused on my Moleskine notebook, black one. Most of my Moleskine sketchbooks are black. I have like one green and 2 blue ones. So I'm starting to get some more colors. I'm starting to switch it up a little bit. But there's a huge stack of black Moleskine sketchbooks. It's simple, it's basic, but I like it, so. And what I should do more is use blank paper. I draw basically everything in a sketchbook. I think what I should do is just use, well, I have cardstock paper, or I could use printer paper, something like that. And then I don't have, if I use that, I would not have such anxiety when it comes to making good drawings, because if it's a piece of paper and you mess up, it's like, okay, whatever, throw it away or put it in a folder and hide it forever. But if it's a sketchbook, there's definitely more pressure of trying to make good things and not mess it up. But it's not that big of an issue. I mean, at the end of the day, I'm trying my best. As long as I try my best and make drawings that are the best that I can make, you know, it is what it is. So, what is my goal for being an artist? And I've been thinking a little bit about it recently. What's the point of being an artist? Well, for me, I think that it's a good way to inspire people, being an artist. It's a great way to communicate ideas and new things. And that's why I like drawing. That's why I started, because I like conveying ideas in weird and wacky ways that others might see as crazy. But that's kind of what it takes to change things. I want to change things on a micro scale, not on a huge field. I mean, maybe that would be great if I could change things in a big way and really help a lot of people. But I'm really more focused on a small group of people, maybe a couple hundred people. We can get together, draw, and make something good. Make maybe some sort of club, drawing club, ink club, and put our ideas together. Make inventions, diagrams, learn from each other, branch off, and really do something good. On a micro scale, I'm not focused on changing the art world, changing everything, because that's not possible as a person. I mean, maybe if you have the connections and meet the right people, you can do that, but that's not going to happen, probably. So, really, I should focus on just a micro scale. And that's what I want to do. I want to just build a small community of people who are focused on one goal. And there's a lot of artists out there that like drawing, so I really just want to put stuff out there that a select few people will like. So yeah, my goal is to create a community of people that like art. So, and then maybe from there I can venture into other stuff, do some other things. I don't know. There's a lot. There's so much to do. There's so much out there. There's a lot going on. It's 2024. There's a lot going on. I could sit and draw, or I could go out and draw on, maybe do murals. You know, everyone has phones. Everyone's making videos, streaming. There's action going on. Maybe I should go out and draw. Maybe I should go out on the street and draw. Although that's not very safe. Maybe in like a city. You know, I want to go where things are happening and build stuff, you know. But for now, I'm just going to stay inside and draw. Maybe in like 10 or 15 years, I'll travel and draw people, meet new people, do a bunch of different things like that or something. I don't know. But yeah, right now I would say I'm still in the infancy stage of my artwork. There's a lot to be improved on. There's a lot to be done. And I need to learn a lot more about art and really master everything that I'm doing before I can go out and adventure. I want to be like Finn from Adventure Time. I want to go on quests and just go to random places, draw in random places. I don't know how to explain it exactly. I don't want to do everything, but I want to do everything that I can with my art. I want to put it everywhere. I want to do everything. I don't know, man. I just like drawing. And if I can meet a few people who like what I do, I think that would be very nice. It would be fun to meet people who like doodling, who like drawing and sketching, and we meet up and build something. I think that's what everyone likes doing. We all like meeting people. Well, maybe not everyone. I like being by myself, drawing, and not talking to anyone. But sometimes, you know, it's fun to do a little bit of communication with other people or whatever. So, but yeah. So, for this month, I have filled half a sketchbook and a couple pages in another one. So, by the end of this month, I should be done with my Moleskine sketchbook. And I try putting out 2 or 3 every month. 1 at the least. And so it's been going pretty well, I would say. And so by the end of this year, I should have a whole entire stack of Moleskine sketchbooks. I just like looking at them all stacked up. So yeah, anyways, these 2 sketchbooks here, 2023. They're smaller sketchbooks than what I'm using right now. As you can see, as you looked at earlier, there's a Elon sticker and a Nikola Tesla sticker. Kind of fits together. That's why I put these 2 sketchbooks together, because of the stickers. Because of Nikola Tesla, Tesla vehicles, Elon. It's all combined together, or what? Yeah. So, abstract drawings. These drawings really are all the same. So you're probably tired of seeing the same drawing. But I mean, I've got to make a video of these, right? I might as well show what I've done. Even though they're all the same, they look similar. But this, I would call this the first stage of what I'm doing. The second stage, which I'm sort of in, I'm in like a limbo stage right now, I would say. I'm not in the second phase. This was the first phase. I'm in limbo stage right now. And my goal is to get into the second phase, which is refining and hyper analyzing my drawings, making them super detailed, nano detailed on the molecular level, diagrams. I'm spending 10 hours on one page and everything is absolutely perfect. That's the goal of phase 2, okay? To split the atom, okay? That's what we're doing in phase 2. Phase 3 is going to be something that you've never seen before. No, I'm kidding. I have no idea what I'm talking about. But phase 2 is going to be good. It's going to be very detailed. That's the goal for the next few months. I want to make diagrams. I want to build very complex engineering, rockets. I just want it to be so good, okay? So that's what I'm working on. And that's about all. That's about all for this video. It's a longer video of me drawing. Well, not drawing, showing my drawings. So yeah, that's all I have to say. Thanks for watching, and have a good night.